Well, howdy do everyone, and welcome back to the ranch. I'm Dr. Lee, and it is another beautiful day in South Texas. It is a Christmas Eve day, so Merry Christmas Eve to each and every one of you. I'm glad you're here. I always appreciate you guys stopping by, so thanks for being here. It means a lot to me, and I really mean that, so thank you. Good to have you here. Hope you guys been doing well. Hope the weather's good where you are, and I hope you're ready for Christmas because you've only got a few hours before it hits, and we'll have to brace ourselves for that. But anyway, everything out here on the ranch has been doing pretty good. Most of the mother deer with the yearling babies have got them all weaned off. However, you still have to give them a bath every now and then, so they're doing good there. We are seeing a big insurgence of jackrabbits in the area right now, and when you see an insurgence of jackrabbits, you'll also see plenty of these guys right here looking for the jackrabbits, and you'll also see an abundance of these little guys here too. So the coyotes and the gray foxes come in looking for those bunny rabbits. So, you know, you'd think most places this time of year, you know, in the dead of winter, the ranch should be slowing down, but it's not. Different species thrive at different times, and the coyotes and foxes and rabbits, they really show up in big numbers through the winter. But nevertheless, this is also the time of the rut for the white-tailed deer, meaning this is their breeding season. The white-tailed bucks, you'll either see them running full tilt or you'll see them with their nose on the ground trying to find what part of the ranch the girlfriends are hid on. So anyway, busy time out here on the ranch. I've been trying to give the animals a little bit of Christmas cheer, so been cutting up a bunch of apples and carrying them out in bags, and I dump them in front of the game camera so that we can get some good footage. And usually it's the white-tailed deer that come in and scarf up the majority of the apples. However, you'll see them in a standoff commonly with some other species much smaller than them. These foxes, though, will show you what it's like, despite the fact that this deer does not want this fox around. The persistence of the fox pays off, and the little female fox finally gets her an apple. So there you go. Persistence pays off, right? Right. And good old camera number 5 continues to pick up our little friend, the ring-tailed cat, our little miner's cat right here. And everybody's always concerned about those and asking questions about them. Cute little critter. And I'm surprised, you know, we see them so sporadically out here, yet I've been seeing this one consistently on camera number 5. Camera number 5 also picked up these two brothers is what we call them. My wife and I call them the brothers. It's two hogs that we've been watching since they were babies. They have been troublemakers. I've got video of them just totally destroying pastures. And they almost destroyed my wife in her car the other day. She came in late at night and on the main road coming into the ranch, and she was driving pretty fast on it. And these two knuckleheads were out in the middle of the road and didn't care to move, and she almost ran over them because they were there in the middle of the road, not willing to yield. But anyway, yeah, the hog problem's still bad. Despite the fact that we've taken quite a few out, we still have more than our fair share. Also, camera number 5 picked up this wild monster right here. That is my house cat / barn cat, Frankie. Don't know what he was doing that far from the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, but he was caught on camera 5, and then another camera caught him 2 or 3 minutes after that out making his rounds. And you can see he's pretty darn chubby. He gets plenty of cat food, despite the fact that he is a natural born hunter. Yesterday he walked up to me and he had a bird in his mouth. And you know, it's always something. You would think, I don't know how the little tubby critter can move fast enough to catch a bird, but where there's a will, there's Frankie. And lastly, to those who ask about Luther, just to prove, he is still indeed on the job. No rest for the weary. Well, today's video is another installment of our regular annual 3-gift wise man video. But don't get me confused with a wise man. You know better than that. But we have 3 gifts for you today. The first one is a traditional one. I had to dig back in our old videos to bring it back up. You will like it, guaranteed. It's from your favorite uncle. Part number 2 is from our band, 3 of my very best friends of all time, and I. And unfortunately, due to COVID, we have not been able to gather and practice or play or record, just due to the fact that 2 of our band members have super geriatric parents. And the last thing we want to do is unknowingly give them coronavirus. So we've just called it quits until we can all get vaccinated and get back together. It is the responsible thing to do. And I hope you guys are being safe about it. My sister just got over coronavirus, and one of my best friends a couple of weeks ago succumbed to coronavirus. So lost a really good buddy there to a disease that should have never been. But nevertheless, we won't let that get in the way of having a little holiday celebration here. So we'll get started. I didn't tell you. And part number 3, well, that's from yours truly. Story time with Dr. Lee. So you want to just watch the first 2 and cut off, and you can go watch Demolition Ranch or something more fun. But anyway, here comes a jet. So I'm going to cut this video off for just a minute and get your 3 gifts ready. So prepare. All right, with no further ado, here comes gift number 1. Floyd, how you doing today?
Doing fine, thank you.
Good. Well, this is going to be our Christmas video, so I thought it'd be interesting if you could just kind of fill us in on about Christmas when you were a kid. What was Christmas like back in the 1920s? What was Christmas like back when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, well, that's been a long time ago, but I remember them very well. We didn't get presents and money and cars and things like that like we do today. But all the kids had to hang their stockings on the chimney, on the fireplace. And next morning, of course, we were all anxious to get up and get our sock, and that's all you got was what was in that sock most of the time. And you'd get an orange and an apple and some a few nuts, almonds and things like that, and then you got 1 package of regular small firecrackers and one a little bit larger so it wouldn't blow your finger off, and maybe a cap gun and a pair of socks, and that was it. That was Christmas. And of course, the grown people didn't give too many gifts. They were thinking mostly about fixing a big feast for the day. And of course, we had turkey and dressing and all the condiments of Thanksgiving and Christmas piled into one. So we had a lot of fun. We'd save our sparkler, and we'd get 1 sparkler in there, save those till night, and so we could whirl them around and see the pretty lights. My father loved to make wine, and he had a 55-gallon wooden barrel, and every year we'd go out on the Brazos River and gather wild Mustang grapes and bring them in, and we'd put them in a big tub, and then we'd squeeze them, and if we had any small children around, he'd wash their feet and put them in and let them stomp them with the feet, just for fun. And but anyway, he made 55-gallon wine every year, and he kept it down in the cellar. And on Christmas morning, he also had a very good eggnog recipe. And he'd get up about 3 o'clock in the morning and go wake up all the neighbors and bring them down to the house. And we'd drink eggnog and we'd drink wine and have a lot of fun and drink coffee and eat cake. And then about 8 o'clock, he'd bottle that wine up in the half-gallon bottles, and about 8 o'clock he'd load all that wine in his car and drive around and give it all away to his friends.
Oh my!
And he had a lot of fun doing that. He loved making the wine, and so.
And how old were you when you were drinking all this wine and eggnog?
Oh, I was like 5, 6 years old. And I remember one time my brother George, they couldn't find him, and he was under the table, sound asleep.
Oh, he'd had a little too much eggnog.
He had too much eggnog and wine.
Those darn 7-year-olds, you just can't trust them, can you?
It was funny.
Yeah, that's great.
No, our dad always told us, said, if you're going to drink right here at the house.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, and seldom ever took over 1 or 2 drinks, you know.
Yeah.
That's the way it was.
Yep, a whole lot different than the way it is today, right?
It's
and
fact.
Did y'all have a Christmas tree?
We had Christmas trees sometimes.
And you didn't have lights in the tree, did you?
No.
Yeah.
Just had little ornaments and things you could pick up around and tie on there.
Yeah. And so Christmas was not nearly as much of a commercial entity as it is today, was
Exactly.
Yeah. So did your mom, did she get up early in the morning and start cooking and cook all day long?
The women always got up early and started cooking.
Yeah.
That wasn't only at Christmas time. That was all time, but especially Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They really put on a feast.
So did you have like a lot of family come over to the house, and the house was full of family and friends all day long?
That's right.
Yeah.
They used to, everybody would go visit everybody they could that day.
Yeah. That seems like a pretty good way to spend Christmas to me.
It was a great time.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Floyd. Is there anything you want to say to these people on Christmas?
Just want to wish them a Merry Christmas, and may God bless each one of you.
Doesn't get any better than that. Thanks, Floyd.
All right.
Yep, your good old Uncle Floyd. Man, we do miss him like crazy. I was thinking back the other day, and I think that he was 103 when he made that video, so not too shabby. If we can all hit 103 and still be gifted storytellers, I think that would be something to shoot for. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Gift number 2 coming your way right now. And again, the band wanted me to tell you guys that they feel sad, they're sorry, they apologize for not being able to give you a live performance this year, but I told them, you guys would understand because y'all are all good people and you understand responsibility, and that's, there's nothing that my bandmates and I would rather do than get together and play music. So we've made what we consider to be a supreme sacrifice. Other people may consider it a blessing, but anyway, here's the band from 2017, I believe. I hope you like this.
At the end, when we're singing.
When we get through, we'll close it once we get a version that we're all satisfied. Can you sing louder?
Sure.
1, 2.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
That's all. I'll just say Merry Christmas, everyone. Is that what y'all want to do?
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of wave at the camera. We hope you liked that. Good night, everybody, and Merry Christmas.
Y'all were supposed to say Merry Christmas then too.
Oh.
Okay, let's do it again. All right, do it again.
Bad actors.
Well, good night, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that, and
Merry Christmas!
Yep, like I've told you so many times before, those three people, my bandmates, are three of my very best friends of all time. People that you can depend on for anything. And I just pray that you folks have friends as good as my friends, because I don't know what my life would be like if I didn't have them. They are such a blessing. Okay, story time with Dr. Lee. Here we go. This story comes at you from about 25 years ago, and this is my own personal story. This happened at a time when Mark and Matt were probably about 6 and 8 respectively, and Allie was a new baby, and my wife was working full-time. She's a dental hygienist, and she was working full-time as a dentist, and I was working full-time and a half as a veterinarian, trying to get out from under a mountain of debt. And also, due to my inability to tell people no when they asked me for something, I had become elected as a member of the Board of Education in our little town here. There are 7 board members or 7 trustees that, along with the superintendent, make all the decisions that control the school district. And to set the stage for this story just a little bit, to back up a few months before this, the superintendent had approached all of us school board trustees in a closed meeting to show us the resume of an applicant he had to teach first grade. And she was a young lady, very similar to the teacher that we discussed in the last video. She was about 22, 23 years of age. She had done her college work. She had graduated from college. She had her teaching certificate, and she had done all of her student teaching, and she was ready to start her career. And we asked the superintendent, her resume looked great, and we asked the superintendent why he was even bringing it to us for consideration, and he said, well, she has a disability. And he explained her disability to us, and we went around the table, and it came around to me, and I told him, I said, well, our number one goal, the number one thing we have to do first of all is to protect the children. Their safety is the number one thing we have to look out for. Education is second. And I said, as long as her disability does not endanger any of the children, then we owe it to them to give them the best teacher possible, and she looks like she would be stellar. So we hired this teacher, and I didn't think much else about it for a while. One of my clients came in one day, and she was a lady that worked in the cafeteria, and I asked her, and we will call this teacher Miss Nelson. I asked her, I said, do you know Miss Nelson, first grade teacher? And she goes, yep, I know her very well. And I said, what do you think about her? And she goes, well, she's kind of frustrating to us. And I said, oh, really? And I was kind of shocked to hear that. And she said, yeah. She said, Miss Nelson is the last one to get out of there. And she said, by the dietitian's rules, we can't bring the trash cans in and start collecting trash until all the children are out. And I said, well, what takes her so long to get them out? And she said, well, she makes each child keep their napkin and bring their trays to the trash can, and it's right beside the water fountain, and she takes the napkin and she puts water on it from the water fountain, and she wipes all their faces clean. And I said, well, that sounds like a nice thing. And she said, yeah, but it takes her 15 minutes to get all the kids cleaned up before they leave the cafeteria. So I said, okay. So I left, and I thought, well, that's not a whole lot to complain about. So I'm not even going to mention that to the superintendent or anyone else. I thought it was rather exemplary, to be honest with you. But now back to the real world. That's setting the stage. Miss Nelson, like I said, she's 23. She's a single lady and just a sweet little girl. But like I said, my wife and I were very, very busy. You know, in the afternoons, Pat would pick up Allie at the daycare, and then she would go pick up Matt. And at 3 o'clock, I'd go pick up Mark. And Pat would usually take them home, and I would take, if I could get off, I'd take Mark home, and then I'd be done for the day if I could get all my work done. In most cases, I took him back to the clinic with me, and he helped me with my cases that afternoon. So the interesting part of this is when I would this was back in the day when we didn't have many problems at schools and the kids were just kind of dumped out when it was time to go home. Our school district had gone through a tremendous growth spurt, and we had to buy a bunch of portable buildings. And Mark's class was in one of those portable buildings, and right across the way was Miss Nelson's class too. And what I noticed sitting there waiting day after day after day for Mark to get out of class is when the bell rang at 3 o'clock or 3:15, whatever, the door to the portable would fly open and kids would just come busting out of there shoulder to shoulder. And you know what kids look like. Mark would run out to my truck and he would have pizza stains, pizza sauce on his face, pizza sauce on his shirt. His hair was messed up and he smelled like a little hot, sweaty kid. Every one of you parents know exactly what I am talking about. However, over across Miss Nelson's class, and I couldn't really see what was coming on, and I couldn't really see what was going on because of the way the door opened up, but her class would come out one at a time, and they didn't look nearly as shabby as Mark and his class, and I thought, no big deal, but I wonder what's taking her so long to get those kids out of there. And this went on every day. I'd go pick Mark up Monday through Friday, and I would see he'd be out in the truck, and we'd be driving off the road before Miss Nelson's class was completely out of her building. And I told my buddy, the superintendent, about this, and he said, well, why don't you just check into that and see what's going on, see what's taking her so long to get those kids out of there. I said, all right, I will. Well, I promptly forgot about that, but it did stay in the back of my head a little bit. And, I would see all those kids coming out of there slowly, and I wondered, what in the world are they doing? So the day that they were getting let out to go for their Christmas break, I thought, okay, I need to go check this out today. And so I got out of my truck before the bell rang, and I went up on the other side of Miss Nelson's building to where when the door opened up, I could see what she was doing. So the bell rang, her door opened up, and this little body was there, and Miss Nelson, despite her disabilities, she got down on her hands and knees and she zipped this little kid's coat up. She combed his hair over a little bit and she gave him a kiss and hugged him and sent him on his way. Little girl came up next and she made sure that little girl's bow was on top of her head where it was when she got her that morning, not hanging off on the side like Mark's classmates were. And she got the little girl all tidied up, got her coat on, got her books, got her squared away, and she gave her a hug and a kiss. So I reported back to the superintendent and I said, well, let me tell you what was going on. I told him the cafeteria story again, and I told him about Miss Nelson hugging and loving on all these little babies. Before she sent them home, she did that every day to every child. Like Dave Ramsey says, oh, the heart of a good teacher. And she was a good one. She stayed there and here in this town for some years, and then her husband got transferred out, and she left, and we never saw her again. But she left her mark. She left her mark on the heart of all those little children who she started off as a caring and loving school teacher, in most cases probably more so than any other teacher they would have the rest of their life. She gave, despite her little crippled heart, she gave those kids something that few people ever receive, and that is someone else's complete kindness. So there's a big story in that. It's a good story for this time of year because it's a gift. It's a big gift. It's a gift to those children. It's a gift to those children's parents. It's a gift to the world. And like I said, there's a lesson to be learned there that needs absolutely no explanation. And that, my friends, is my gift to you. So with no further ado, keep that little story in your heart. Keep giving the kindness like we always do. Remember what this holiday is all about. And that's one thing I think Jesus Christ would want you to do too, is to be kind. God bless all of you. I sure look forward to seeing you next time. I would hope that you always remember to love you, and Merry Christmas. Bye-bye now. So what you doing there, Al?
Neutering a dog, Dad.
All right. Who's going to learn you?
That's a mistake.
That's all. I'll just say Merry Christmas, everyone. Is that what y'all want to do?
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of wave at the camera. We hope you liked that. Good night, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Y'all were supposed to say Merry Christmas then, too.
Oh.
Okay, let's do it again. All right, do it again.
Bad actors.
Well, good night, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that, and
Merry Christmas!
that's good enough. That's all you get for a quarter.
Bud left.
Yeah.
He only came for a
And he's
split
deaf.
second.